Hello, I'm Anna Raimondi, coming to you from the Angel Cooperative in Ridgefield, Connecticut. Welcome to this episode of Talking to the Dead in Suburbia. Today, our guest is Adam Pascal. I am so excited to have him here on our show. He is a part of theatrical history. He created the role of Roger Davis in Rent, earning a Best Actor Tony nomination, and then reprising his performance in the 2005 movie adaptation. He has since juggled a career as a concert and recording artist with leading roles on Broadway in Aida, Cabaret, Chicago, Memphis, Disaster, and Something Rotten. So you've been kept pretty busy, huh?
I'm trying, Broadway is a wonderful place to work, but the jobs are few and far between. So I feel like I've been very fortunate to have had the opportunities that I've had so far.
Well, you're obviously very good at what you do. And it's really sad that Broadway is closed.
It is not just Broadway, but theater all over the world is
Yeah,
closed. So
really
national
sad.
tours, regional theaters, everything's closed. Yeah.
So what have you been doing to keep yourself occupied?
Well, I do. I have been fortunate enough to have had the opportunity to do a number of like Zoom type performances. I've done the very rare live performance during this lockdown, this sort of socially distanced live performance for very small socially distanced audiences. I've done a couple of outdoor performances. And so, all of us in the entertainment industry, certainly in the live performance aspect of the entertainment industry, have had to figure out ways in this new landscape in which we live to earn a living. And so I'd be lying if I said it wasn't difficult, but I also feel like I've been luckier than some in regards to being able to find things to do.
Well, that's good to hear. I just want to ask you, do you connect to heaven when you sing? Is it a spiritual practice for you? I mean, it's a talent, it's a gift. Do you recognize it as that?
I do, but I am definitely, I wouldn't say that I connect to heaven because that's not something that I ascribe to. I'm definitely I consider myself a spiritual person, and and connect to things that are spiritual to me. Heaven is not a concept or a construct in which I believe in.
So would you say you connect to all things spiritual, the universe?
Yes, I'm definitely someone who connects to the universe and to what could consider to be a sort of a hippie term, but cosmic consciousness in a way.
That's not
Um,
hippie. No,
well, I think
it
it
is.
was sort of coined probably back in
Yeah, it
yeah,
was.
back in the
It's come
'60s.
back.
Yeah, yeah. But definitely a cosmic consciousness, a collective one, if you will. And I'm somebody who's very very interested in the origins of reality. You know what I mean? And all that that encompasses, including consciousness and spirituality. Having those concepts be somewhat unique to the individual and what they believe and what they perceive as reality.
So, music is a universal language. Do you think that music can help us heal,
I
individually,
do.
collectively?
I I think that music is the greatest gift that humanity has given to this universe. Is our music, the music that we as human beings create. I think that um, in many ways that's why we're here. I think that um, you know I don't know if this is true, but I remember reading an article or hearing, maybe it's sort of an urban legend, about how certain music that is so universally loved, Mozart, the Beatles, whatever it is, these this music that has become so uh, uh, beloved by the entire of humanity for the most part, has some in that if you map it out in certain audio wavelengths, like it matches the brain waves,
Mhm.
of like the human brain in certain ways, and like they correspond to each other. That always made sense to me. I choose to believe that, whether it's true or not. But I definitely think that music is our universal gift, and I think that I think that it is the most healing thing that we have, because it's the only thing, not that everybody listens to the same music, but music is something that I think all of humanity is drawn to in one way, shape, or form.
I'm very drawn to music in so many different ways, and it moves me. Like certain music can make me cry. Certain
Yeah,
music can make
me
me
too.
feel alive.
Right.
And we all have some, special songs that kind of make us feel that way. Do you have a special song?
I wouldn't say I have one special song, because it so much is dependent upon the moment and the mood that I'm in. But certainly there are songs that, like, for example, if I have to do a scene on camera, I can't really do this for the stage because I don't have the time. But if I have to do a scene where I have to get very emotional on camera, and I want to prepare for that scene, I will go. I have a playlist of certain songs that I will go to that just make me sob. If I put myself in the right frame of mind, they will make me sob. Certain songs by U2, certain songs by Billy Joel, certain songs by the Beatles. There are certain songs that I go to that just have Cat Stevens. You know what I mean? Again, like certain things that tap into my heart in a way that, quite frankly, in a way that I don't always want to go to. You know what I mean? There, Cats in the Cradle by Cat Stevens, now that I have children, is a song that I have a really hard time listening to. I have sons. It's about this man and his sons. It makes me emotional to think about it. Um, but like, I can't listen to that song unless I'm ready to cry. If it comes on the radio, I have to turn it off. But yet I will use a song like that in preparation for a scene in which I have to get to this place that I have to get to.
That's so funny you should bring that up because that played yesterday. I was in the car and driving, and that was playing yesterday. And immediately I go back to, what kind of parent have I been? Like,
Right.
like, like, are they, they do something wrong and then they're going to do it back and I'm going to lose my children? Yeah, that's a very
Right.
emotional. What really moves me is Eva Cassidy. Um,
Okay.
Eva Cassidy, I listen to Eva Cassidy and I just want to, sob. Her energy is so pure and it comes through in the song,
Of
so
course.
it's not just the song. I think it's the energy of the
Yeah.
person singing the song as well, you know.
Yes, and it's all of those things. It's the tone of their voice. It's the melody. It's the you're right. It's the energy of the person, and it's amazing to me. And like you said, and then there are songs that can have the opposite effect, in that they get you excited and they make you happy, and and so, but it really depends. It's very dependent upon the individual and the moment that they are in, and how that music will affect them in that moment.
Do you believe that when you sing that you are channeling, the universe, spirit, or something else, like something else is moving through you, or like it's like an out of body experience almost?
Well, there. I don't know if I would phrase it that way. There certainly are many times when I'm performing where you connect with a live audience, and this only happens when you're in front of people, not in a recording studio, at least for me. But when I'm in front of an audience and there is a shared experience that you have together, that is definitely spiritually energetic, in its experience. um and it doesn't always happen, but there are times, and those are the moments that we continually strive for, is to try and create those moments. um
Well, it's
you know uh,
connectedness. I think that when people are sitting in an audience, that whether they realize it or not, they're energetically connected to each other and then connected to you in the music.
yes, absolutely, and I've had that same experience as an audience member. I've had that experience as an audience member, seeing, I mentioned U2. I mean, if you want to talk music and spiritual, there's no, as far as I'm concerned, there's no better band that has made that connection to spirituality more than U2. And every time I see them live, it solidifies that concept in me, because they perform in these arenas and in these stadiums, and yet you feel like this collective oneness with them and with everybody around you. It's like their music was written for the masses to join together,
It's so funny, but you mentioned Billy Joel. So I'm a Long Islander. So
as am I.
yeah. So, Billy Joe's in Long Island, and
Yep.
you go to the garden. And so the last time I was there, I sat in the band seats, which was kind of cool. But I could feel the people behind me. Okay. And the
Yeah.
energy, like we're all the same because
Right.
we're New Yorkers, or we're Long Islanders, or we follow Billy and this singing of his life. And isn't this wonderful?
Right.
So yeah, I think that happens. And when it happens, it's like exhilarating, you
Yeah,
know?
it creates a night. It creates, one of a night to remember for, and again, especially Billy Joel at Madison Square Garden, all, hometown shows, like those are magical. They really are. They're truly magical, and to be able to share an intimate experience with 25,000 people is an incredible thing to be able to do. You know what I mean? To have that much energy collectively focused in the same place.
But how does that feel when you're the one that they're focused on?
It can be scary. It can be scary. Again, I can recall standing on stage at the Royal Albert Hall in London on several different occasions to a sold out audience as being part of a larger show, not my own personal show. But this, and especially at a place like that has such history to it, you step on a stage like that has been there for many years and had many incredible artists perform on it from all aspects and all genres of music. And it's sort of like it was like this, like a spiritual connection to something that had such deep roots in ways that you don't get in this country, because our culture does not,
Hmm.
the roots don't go that deep. But when you're in Europe, or anywhere really outside of North America that has thousands of years of deep rooted history, um, there's an incredible connection there. And but I have I'd be lying if I said that I've had that experience as a performer in the way that I've had it as an audience member. I've had it more as an audience member because I don't feel the pressure on myself
Hmm.
to create something for someone else.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You feel, you as a performer, you want to be transcendent. You want to be completely in the moment. You know what I mean? You want to be as mindful as you can and be in the moment. But you know, there are so many other factors that get in the way and that get into your head. And like, again, sold out Royal Albert Hall, like all I can think of is like, am I going to forget the lyrics in front of all these
Yeah.
people? So there are these other factors that come into play. But there are those moments of glory where you just, like you're in the moment, and you're not going to forget anything, and you connect with the audience, and they connect with you, and you can feel it. You can definitely feel it. Um, and it's a fascinating experience. There's nothing else like it.
How did music influence your life or help you cope with situations and difficulties that have come up?
Well, it influenced me in that I discovered it at such a young age, and I discovered that it was such an integral part of who I was at such a young age. So, I started singing and performing in bands at, 11 years old. I discovered this passion that I had for singing and for music and for, creating music and playing music with other people, you know, and it's just consistently always been there for me, whether I wanted it or not. You know, Yesterday was a really hard day for me. And I won't get into the details because it's not really necessary, but I had a really difficult day yesterday. And I went on a long drive, 4.5 hour drive. And I just happened to put on the I said, what can I listen to that is going to soothe my soul? And Billy Joel has a channel on Sirius right now. I put on the Billy Joel channel, and it took me through the roller coaster of emotion. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
From the heights of happiness to the depths of sadness and everything in between. But you know, it was this cathartic roller coaster of experience that I needed to get me through that trip. You know what I mean? To get me where I needed to go. And it was at times painful. It was at times beautiful. It brought me back to my youth. It brought me back to Long Island. It brought me back to New York. It brought me, you know what I mean? It brought me back to growing up. And you know, I think that that's one of the greatest things that music can do for us is to change our state of mind and change our frame of reference when we need it most.
Mhm.
You know, sometimes when we're not even aware that we need that, you
Yeah,
know.
it's amazing. You know what I always find amazing is notes. If you play them one at a time, it's just a note. But when you play them together, it makes something amazing and
Yeah,
beautiful. It's almost like an analogy for people, you know, alone, we're good. It's pretty, it's nice, but together, we're powerful.
absolutely. It's like the sound of a chord. You know what I mean? The sound of a chord on a one particular chord played once can be like, if you think about the last chord in A Day in the Life by the Beatles, that last orchestral chord played on the piano, um, has more emotion in it
Mhm.
than many full songs by
Mhm.
artists that I can think of. You know what I mean? Just that one chord, and you're right. The collection of notes has that ability to do that.
Yeah, and then once you put a voice to it, forget it. It's just
Right.
amazing. You know,
Right.
you you've played some difficult characters on the stage. What, like in Aida, it was about destiny and reincarnation and lovers meeting again in another lifetime. Has that changed your perspective on life? Has it taught you something? How does that kind of role like that affect you?
You know, um, you know, I had and still have to a certain extent, um, a wavering opinion about things like reincarnation. I remember when I was a in my early 20s, late teens, maybe reading a book called Many Lives, Many Masters.
Oh yeah, which is still a
Which
bestseller.
yeah,
Brian
and
Weiss
and
is
it,
still out there.
and I was fascinated by that concept and by that book. And I remember writing a song after reading that book and talking about the silver cord. I remember the concept of the silver cord was a lyric in this song, and staying connected, and then having that the cord break, and you know, like the whole everything about that book like really affected me. I have since, you know, sort of like I said, wavered back and forth between what I believe. You know, I'm definitely agnostic when it comes to that kind of stuff. Um, you know, because you know, whereas on the one hand, I am a believer in all things spiritual. I'm not a believer in anything supernatural, if that makes sense. So, so what I mean by that is the way that I think about things is that anything is possible, but whatever is possible has an explanation to it. And that explanation lies within the laws of the universe, many of which we are undiscovered. That, you know what I mean? There's a quote that says, you know, the universe is not only queerer than we suppose, it is queerer than we can suppose. Queer obviously meaning otter.
Mhm.
um, and I believe that there's, you know, there we know such a small fraction about this world that we live in consciousness in the universe. And so, you know, my beliefs are that anything is possible, but there is an explanation to whatever is possible, if that makes any sense.
It does,
Um,
but what do you think the universe is? When you refer to the universe, what is the universe?
um,
People sometimes refer to the universe because they don't necessarily think of God, this man with the long white beard. Personally,
right,
God to me is a vibration of love. Okay. It is
right,
all love, it's a vibration.
sure,
It's not a man,
And
it's not a woman. We don't need to, to personify it. And then people talk about the universe, but what is the universe? If it's not supernatural, then what is it?
um, I don't know. I wish, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is. I mean, I can certainly state the obvious and say it is all that we see, it is all that's around us, it is all that is encompassing. But I believe there is certainly way more than that. If you rely on what your eyes, only what your eyes see or what your ears hear, we're missing
Yeah.
most of everything. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think that it is all the things that we can perceive of and experience and all the things that we can't even conceive of.
Okay. So when you say you don't believe in anything supernatural, so angels,
No,
what else are there?
not in the traditional biblical construct. I don't believe in that. Do I believe that there could be forces, entities, energies, things that people on certain levels of consciousness can interact with? Sure. But I believe that there is an explanation that is unknown to us for what that is.
Okay. I don't think that, so I do believe because I feel them and I communicate with them. I do believe in these supernatural forces, but, I am not stuck on the lingo,
Right,
that, organized religion puts forward. Just like I
right,
don't believe God is a man in a long white beard sitting on a throne somewhere.
right.
I do believe it's an energy of love. And the more we buy into this and try to be good people, we enter into the vibration of love. But
Can I can I ask you something?
sure.
Is that God in which you perceive in the way that you perceive it a creator God? In do you,
I do believe in a creator, because no matter what, I mean, at the beginning, there had to be something. And I also believe that you can co-create with this energy. Okay.
okay,
So this energy is always creating, and this
right,
energy also lives within each of us. So it's
right.
not like, up in the sky, I refer to heaven because this is the lingo that people know. We
Of
don't have
course.
language to kind of do all of this. So, I believe that this energy, the vibration that is God, or you can call it Sam, or you can call it, or you can call it the universe, whatever you want, is around us and within us. And that's how
Right,
we connect with each other. So it's not just the collective unconsciousness, it's also a connection energetically through that God source, so to
right,
speak. You know what I mean?
right.
Um,
Yes.
I'm not hung up on, listen, I have people coming to me of every different religion and every different non-religion, and it's all good.
Right,
Being an agnostic is a belief system. Okay, it
right,
is. Being an atheist is a belief system. Believe what you want, if it works for you, but you can't deny when you feel love, and we can't
that's
describe
true.
love. We don't, I mean, when it's taken away from us, it does hurt and it provides growth, but you can't deny that, and it's
Right,
what everybody searches for. So that's what I think, that's what I believe. So
got it.
whether you call them angels or you call them entities or beings or whatever it is, I certainly do believe that our lives do not end on this planet.
Right, understood. And I lean towards agreeing with you. I really do. But again, I think that wherever we go, in whatever form that takes, there is an unknown explanation for it. And look, if you clearly human beings since throughout recorded history have been interacting and have been having experiences with things that they can't explain or understand, and it very consistently comes back to this concept of angels or entities or being whatever it is. So there's clearly something is happening and does happen to us as humans
Hmm.
in within the consciousness that we possess. So I certainly don't deny that at all. I mean, it's obvious that there is something happening. um and we all choose to
Look at it
you
the
know,
wrong way.
look at it the way that we look at it, you
Yeah,
know, but
and
it's
that's
but it's but it's a reality.
yeah, and it's complicated, but and we won't know all the answers, not
Right,
not now. Someday,
right,
maybe when we pass. And so we have no choice but to keep it as simple as possible and go through the motions,
right,
and
right,
live from that place.
right.
That's really what's important, and learn from the things that we're doing. Like you played a man who was HIV positive. I mean, I can't imagine. Like, do you become that person? Like, you do you
That's I Yeah, that's for me. That's I no, not in this, not in the way that I think you are referring to it. You know, uh, I as an actor, I try to embody a character in the most natural, organic way that I can. And for me, a lot of times that requires not overthinking it. You know what I mean? Not I'm not the kind of person that when I step out of the wings onto the stage, I say, okay, I'm no longer Adam. I am now Roger or Rodamaze or whatever it is. You know what I mean? I don't approach it that way. I try and bring Adam's humanity and Adam's sensibilities to this person and their circumstances. So I don't invest myself in that way to where I feel like I am HIV positive. Like I don't know how to do that. I'm not that kind of actor. I try and just bring the humanity to every one of these characters as best I can.
Well, you're doing a really good job.
And it's hard to do it to do it 8 times a week. I would imagine it would be hard to leave that in the theater were you to embody that or take that in
Hmm.
on such a deep level for me. So I do my best to embody these characters to the best of my ability, but in a way in which I can leave it at the stage door when I go home every night.
So you have two sons.
I do.
um how do you express, and it doesn't need to be with the language of spirituality, but how are you helping them in their soul growth and expressing, their spirituality or your spirituality to them?
Well, we've talked about it a lot. You know, my feelings about religion and supernatural existence and or lack thereof. And I grew up Jewish from Long Island, and so um, and so they know how I feel. They know how their mom feels, which is very close to how I feel about things. But they're also very inquisitive, and I encourage them to be as inquisitive to all that they find interesting. And also, if they were to believe in something that I didn't believe in, but it brought them joy and happiness and love, I would accept that.
Hmm.
You know,
Absolutely.
um, that's really all I'm interested in. I'm not interested in instilling in them my belief system. I'm interested in them developing their own and finding love through that. You know, and I
Yeah.
think that they've done that. You know,
Well,
um,
Gilbron said, our children come through us. you know we have to let them go and
yeah,
form their own lives. Like, we don't have anything to do with it except being the ones that brought them forward.
right,
I mean, of course we, can influence them and we raise them, but they also chose us. So you always hope that
right.
it's going to work. Can I just say, there's a woman standing next to you. This is so bizarre. So do you remember Laverne and Shirley? And Laverne wore a shirt that had like an L on it. This woman
Yep,
has a W.
a
Okay,
W.
a W, and she has on bell bottoms. Okay, and she's very pretty. Do you know who this is? She loves you very much, and she's very proud.
Sure, it's my mother.
Okay. She wants you to know that you are absolutely not alone in what you're going through. Okay. And that she absolutely also understands it. Okay. She's right there next to you. Do you have something of hers that you hold in your hand sometimes?
Uh, I don't. I actually don't have a lot of her stuff. I just have photos. I don't have anything physically
Okay,
that
because
was hers.
something that maybe one of a sibling of yours has that you can hold in your hand. Okay, um, she's very pretty. Like I would say, like she's kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like she's kind of cool. Like she gets what you're saying. Okay, gets what you're saying. Definitely there. She's with a man that has a name, Frank. Um, Phil, a name like that. And
That's her father. That's her
were you
father.
very close to him?
In ways, yeah, yeah. He
Okay.
was he was always a very gentle, loving, um, pure love. It was my grandfather, her
But
father.
you carry that of him. He's saying, and that's your spirituality, is you carry this that I had, you carry it. And I'm very proud of that. And as opposed to the other grandfather who you were not as close with, yeah, he feels
That's
very.
true.
You know what I mean? Like very like this is the way it is. This is the way it is, and you kind of and I don't feel a very deep closeness. Um, did
I
your
wasn't close to him.
yeah? And he's sorry. He's saying I'm sorry. I'm sorry, even though he was born in this country. The other grandfather, but I feel he's very ethnic. Okay, there's like he's ethnic. I don't know. He's coming through like, I follow the ways of my people.
Yes,
That kind of thing.
yes.
And there everything was very black and white. Were you closer to your stepfather than your father? Because your
Um,
stepfather loves you.
my what?
Stepfather loves you.
I know he does. I was closer to him in many ways, and we have been estranged for a number of years, and we just reconciled last week.
Okay. Is he having some issues with dementia or forgetting things?
Yes,
Yeah, that's why I feel him. He looks at you as his son, okay? And I can hear him because he's kind of in and out of lucidity kind of. And what I'm feeling is that he was never afraid to let you go on your journey. Okay? Like it was an open book even though it might have felt that he wasn't right there supporting you, and your mother's laughing and she's saying, yeah, he could be a pit of a pill sometimes. Okay, but he's a good man, a good man. And she's happy that she's able to be with you at this time, and she's saying, understand this, so whatever's going on in your life, this too shall pass. Okay, it will pass. Life will go on. You're looking at it from the right way, and it's okay to grieve. It's okay to grieve what you thought was who you are, because you're losing a piece of yourself right now. And she's saying it's okay. She's saying, I've been there. I understand. She smells really good. Really good. Yeah. She comes to you in this wonderful smell. But who is the smoker?
her.
Yeah. Because I feel like it's covering the smoke. Like if I
Yes,
just
she
spritz
was a
this on,
smoker. Yeah, heavy
I
smoker.
just spritz this on, and she dies too
Yep.
young. She dies too
Yes.
young. She had a lot more to say and a lot more to do. Okay. She's walking right alongside you. You're not alone. Um, she would she would love you to talk to her more, and she would love you to get something that I don't know why I keep seeing a rock. Um, I don't know what this is. I keep seeing a
I'll
rock,
have to talk to my sister. There may be something.
like a rock, a crystal. I don't know what this is, but I feel like it's you hold it, you can just like throw it in your pocket kind of thing. Okay. And so if your sister has it, she wants you to have it so you can remember, that she's always with you. And you're a really good father, she's saying. A really good father. Okay. And a good husband too. Okay.
I don't
Every
know about that one.
well, this is what your mother's saying. Every piece of sometimes people come together and then, the karma is complete and they move on. but there's so much that's learned through every relationship. Okay. And that's really what's important.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Well, thank you so, so much for being on the show. I so enjoyed speaking to you. I love speaking
Likewise.
to artists, and I love people. I love talking to people who have a different view on things, because I think that this is the way the world goes. The same thing with politics. We all respect each other, but we're allowed to think different things. As long as it's from a place of love, that's all that really matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you so much for being on today, and to everybody out there. You can watch videos of Adam's movies and TV shows that he's been in. It's all out there, right?
It is indeed.
And and when he comes to a place by you and he's doing a concert or something like that, go out and see him, because he's more than a great performer. He's a really nice soul and person. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Anna.